Oh, so hi, my name is Cula Budi. I've always had a very close connection with the animals ever since I was a child. And I'm more than glad, I'm really happy to have Raabia Hawa. She is the founder of Walk with the Rangers, and she does amazing work. And I'm actually to be very happy to be part of her initiative. And today we decided to take a little drive, and she was introducing me to what she does, what she's all about, and
Thank you so much. It's so nice to meet you, Cula, and I want to wish you all the very best because very few people remember wildlife and remember our natural resources that are under threat. So, asante sana for that. Thank you so much. But yeah, I think people need to be very aware about our cause. We've been facing a lot of poaching recently. Between 2011 and 2014 in Kenya, we were losing 8 elephants a day on average around the country, and primarily for the ivory trade. So you might know in 2016, April, we burnt over 105 tons of ivory. And we did this really to make a global statement to the world that elephants deserve to keep their ivory. We have no right over their ivory, and we need them alive. Elephants are extremely important for the ecosystem and for our environment. They're like the gardeners of our ecosystems, and they protect our water towers. So without elephants, we actually wouldn't have a lot of trees. We wouldn't have a lot of our water towers protected either. And so that's where we come in as rangers. We come in as sort of the first line of defense against poachers. And I feel like a lot of people don't really realize what goes into that. I want to mention two things. One is on the part of elephants and why they're important. For example, we have the Tsavo National Parks that are gazetted as national parks because they draw in a lot of tourists who fly in from all over the world to see the famous red elephants of Kenya. And without them, we would lose out on a really important ecosystem that hosts the Mzima Springs. Mzima Springs is actually the sole source of fresh water for the entire human population at the coastal region of Kenya. So it's extremely vital to keep these national parks protected and gazetted, and to keep the elephants moving in the way that they do to protect these, the biodiversity and protect our ecosystems. And speaking of protection, of course, rangers. You know, when we burnt all of that ivory and we made this global statement, we faced a lot of backlash from some countries who said we could sell it and make money to then use towards protecting wildlife. But I can tell you, there are other ways to raise the funds that we need. You know, we have tourism, which is a huge GDP earner for Kenya, and I want to welcome everyone to come and visit Kenya. It's a beautiful country.
Yes, the most beautiful country in the world.
And you get to meet him as well.
Definitely.
But hopefully you'll also get to meet rangers and hear their stories and learn about what they go through on the front lines, working 11 months out of a year without any public holidays, no Christmas, no weekends, just defending these huge, magnificent beasts, but also all the other wildlife that we have in our country. But not only that, you know, again, they're the first line of defense, and so they're exposed to not only wildlife and the elements, but they're also exposed to poachers. I personally have lost 6 friends to poaching.
Sorry about that.
And, you know, people don't realize the human cost of poaching, and I feel like that really needs to come across, because not only do we lose the rangers, but then they leave behind widows, they leave behind orphans, with no one really to care for them. And so it's really important to understand that when you buy ivory or rhino horn or any wildlife product, you're actually contributing to the loss of human lives, the loss of really important animal lives and wildlife species, and you're really contributing to a blood trade, which is what I would call it. So yeah, I think I would like people to know about that, and to continue to support efforts on the ground. For us at Walk with Rangers, we focus our efforts on rangers, facilitating them, equipping them, giving them better training, so that they're able to do their job more efficiently, but also so that they are more comfortable in their work. That's very important to me. It's been my life for the last more than 10 years. And I feel like rangers really deserve better.
Yes, I totally agree. So now you know that every time you wear jewelry, an ornament, or anything made out of an animal, you're actually wearing blood. It's not beautiful, it's not jewelry, it's not something you would hold precious. You've actually killed a whole animal for you to wear that. Okay, so we also took a little walk in Naivasha and we came across some of the snares set by poachers. And this can actually catch what size of an animal?
Anything from an impala. It can also catch zebra, but also elephants sometimes get caught in snares too.
Okay, it might look quite small to you, but this can actually bring down a very huge animal, right?
Absolutely.
So they usually set up this to make their lives easy or their work very easy. So what we're trying to do is we try to untangle them, to remove them, because there's a pathway for an animal, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a pathway.
And you can see from the loop,
Yeah.
when you put, like, normally an animal grazes down, right?
Okay.
Like, so you'll have an impala maybe grazing there, and then he's moving here, so his head is going there.
Yeah.
And if you just put your hand through there, just put your hand through there.
This way?
Yeah, so pretend that's like a head
Okay.
of an impala or a zebra that's grazing,
Okay.
and just try to pull.
So if I move,
Just try to pull.
okay,
So it
I
starts.
get stuck.
Yeah, you can see how tight it gets
It's really
on you.
tight, yes.
And
it's
it
really
starts
tight.
to, if you pull really
It
hard,
even gets tighter.
yeah,
And I'm actually a strong person and I can feel it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So if it cuts the branch, for example, then it will continue to get really tight until it starts to cut through the flesh and get down to the bone.
Yes.
So it's a very painful way, and anything, even lions get caught in snares sometimes. This is the #1 deadly killer for wildlife in Africa.
Wow. So how do you remove this?
You remove it by just undoing the knots that they put in the tree. So I'll just undo one knot for you, and then you can just try to pull it off. It's a bit difficult because they set it really tight.
Wow.
And there you have it. That's the #1 killer for wildlife in Africa.
Yeah, so you have it. If we could have a more productive youth and people who'd organize walks into the parks, and maybe we can help each other in walking around and untangling this from the parks, so that when they put, remove, they'll eventually get tired.
Yeah,
And we might have our animals free to walk in the park where they are supposed to be.
exactly.
Yes.
So you've actually, by removing that, you've just saved one or more animals.
Oh yes, I have. I have saved one or more animals today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cula. I wish you all the best.
All right. Thank you. I
Asante
appreciate.
sana.
I
Thank you
appreciate.
so
Thank
much.
you. All right.